Welcome to episode 20 of the American Truck Driver Podcast. It is the first show of 2018. I had planned on doing this last weekend, but I ended up curled up in the fetal position in the floor with an abscess too, so that pretty much knocked me out. So give you a little preview of what we got coming up for 2018. I'm going to have some brokers and some people with some carriers on this year. You've probably heard the term blockchain, digital currency. We're going to be talking a lot about that. I've got a guy lined up that is a broker that is going to come on and talk about the blockchain and how it is going to affect the trucking industry. It's going to make some big waves. I want to take a minute and thank some of the people that have sent me messages and have reached out over the last few months as I've been working on this life transition, getting from being an owner-operator, gone on the road all the time, to being at home as a company driver. I'm now working here locally where I live, driving a day cab, pulling a flatbed, hauling compressed gases. And so it's a home everyday job. It's kind of a different deal than I'm used to. You know, I've spent so many years on the road, and it's quite a bit different. But I've got a job with a really good company that I really enjoy working for. So looking forward to the future there. But it gives me time now to work on this project. You know, so many times that I wanted to produce content when I was on the road, and it was just so hard. You know, I would think about, I need to do a podcast today. Well, I just drove 650 miles and I'm just ready to go to bed. Excuse me. Get a little drink of water. So this is hopefully going to be a weekly thing now. That's the plan. I haven't decided on a specific day of the week yet. I'm thinking Saturdays, because I generally work 12-hour days with my job. So Saturdays or Sundays are probably going to be the best for me. But all these are going to be live on Facebook, as this is now. And then they will be uploaded to the YouTube channel and onto the podcast page at americantruckdriver.com. Couple more pieces of house cleaning. You know, I've got to find a way to monetize this in some way. And, you know, a lot of this new digital age, you know, people will try to do, affiliate marketing where, you know, you get paid if you push people to certain websites, traditional advertising, and I'm just not comfortable with that idea just yet. I'm never going to say never, but I want this to be an educational show. And so I want people to listen, and I want people to come on that will participate in the teaching and spreading of good information. But I don't ever want to be in a position where I feel like I can't say something or have someone on or broach some subject because some advertiser's not going to like it. So that pretty much leaves me with affiliate marketing, which I'm not against. There's nothing wrong with affiliate marketing. Maybe I review a product or have someone on the show, and then I get paid. You know, if I drive traffic from my site to theirs, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm looking at basically just a donation model. I'm going to start a Patreon page, and the Patreon will have some levels, but I've got to get some infrastructure built first to where maybe we have a private podcast just for the patrons, private Facebook group where you can get greater levels of connection with me through that Patreon. And I've put up a donate button, just a PayPal donate button on my website and americantruckdriver.com/donate. So if you want to throw me $5, whatever, this is my 20th episode. And I've gotten good questions and I've gotten good feedback. I just answered a message that I got today. But there's a lot of interesting and exciting things happening in the world and in trucking right now. And so I've got these are things that I'm passionate about and I want to talk about, and I want to get people on here that can explain these things and how they may affect you if you're anywhere from a company driver up to a fleet owner, or a broker or a carrier or a shipper. There's some really, really cool stuff, I believe, coming down the pipe, and I think it's just going to be awesome. I think the world has the potential to not resemble anything like what it does right now in 5 years. I think this is a really interesting and cool time to be alive and to be involved in the trucking industry. So we're going to get some people on here and try to make sure that we don't have hype and drama. I don't want a bunch of foolishness on here. I want to get straight to the point of the issues. And I'm going to give you an example. So this is something that's been on my mind. So we just had the ELD mandate. We're coming right up about a month now since the ELD mandate hit. And I've been watching social media and listening to some people talk and reading some comments. And you have to ask this question, okay? So it's January, right? Now, what happens every January? Well, back up. What happens every December? Freight creeps up and up and up and up, leading up to the Christmas retail free-for-all. And then generally volume drops, rates drop, capacity's all over the place, trucks sitting empty. And now everyone is believing, a lot of people believe anyway, that this bump in rates that we're seeing right now, and it's, man, from everything I'm seeing, rates are just crazy. I mean, guys are just writing their own checks, $5, $6, $7 a mile from what I'm seeing. Now, I don't have personal experience with this. I can just go off of what I see in the Rate Per Mile Masters Facebook group, some Landstar groups that I'm still in. So you got to ask this question: is it really the ELD mandate? Okay, because I believe that in economics, perception is as much reality as reality is reality. Okay, so if we as an industry, we all perceive that the ELD is going to raise hell and cause all this chaos, well, then that belief, that perception is going to drive rates up whether or not capacity and volume are off, So I would love, and I'm going to try to do this, I would love to look at some numbers from some other boom years. Let's go back to, 2012, 13, 14. We had some pretty rocking times there. And I would like to see if we saw the same types of bumps now. So here's the question. Is it really the ELD, or is it just economic factors have driven volume up, and there's not capacity to cover it, and maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the ELD? That's possible. I'm not saying that it's not. But to see this type of fluctuation in the market, you would think that there would have to be an awful lot of capacity sitting at the house. And I'm kind of having a hard time buying that. I'm just not 100% sure that this ELD mandate has just parked trucks all over the place. I'm not sure that the economic conditions, of America in January of 2018 are such that we've just had such an incredible rise in freight demand there's too many factors to just say, oh, it was one thing, oh, it was the tax bill, it was consequences from a new administration, it was the ELD mandate. Maybe it's all of it. Maybe it's everything. But I want to try to track down some people that know a lot more about stuff like this than I do, and try to get a handle on where we're at, because if the biggest piece of the pie is ELDs, well, that's going to level out. I mean, people are going to get used to ELDs. I did, but I've been using ELDs for 7 years. So, and again, when I started using ELDs, it just really didn't change things all that much. So, I don't know. We'll see if as we get into the second quarter. But I mean, if we're to base what's going on now, and put it on a regular trend, well, good grief! By Christmas, what are rates going to be? $10 a mile? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see how things are going to settle out. I'm not a fan of presidents, whether they have D's or R's beside their names. But we do know that, certain changes happen when certain parties are in power. Trump has said a lot about what he plans to do with NAFTA. That could have an effect on rates one way or another. Whichever direction the legislation heads will have some effect on overall rates. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on it and see where it's at. But, we've got to remember fuel prices in that too. If you're making $3 a mile and fuel's $4 a gallon, or you're making $3 a mile and fuel's $2, well, that's a significant factor that has to be considered. So we'll keep an eye on that. So blockchain, safety, rates, ELDs, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. I'm also kind of curious to watch and see how these safety advocates like Truck Safety Coalition and Road Safe America, how they interact. They seem to have been quiet. I follow them on social media, even though I'm blocked and I'm unable to comment. But they just been kind of quiet. And I don't know if that's because maybe they feel like a Republican, conservative, administration in Washington is not going to lend them their ear. If they're, they're more vocal with a more progressive majority. I don't know. I've got my eye on them over there and watching them when they make some of these silly posts. So we'll have to keep an eye on them. There's a lady I'm going to try to get on the show that told me a story one time about what it was like trying to book freight back in the 70s and early 80s. She's been in this business a very, very, very long time. But she told me just this fantastic story that you guys are going to want to hear. It's very entertaining, but it'll give us a glimpse kind of how spoiled we are now, the way that information is spread around and how trucks are contracted and how freight's moved. And I think all that's going to change big time with the blockchain and decentralized currency. It's going to be some big changes coming, and I think those of us who are at least aware of those new emerging technologies are going to be a little bit ahead of the curve. So that, I'd say, will do it for our 2018 preview. We'll be with you next weekend for a little longer show, and hopefully have a guest on here to talk about the blockchain, if I can get that lined up. So the website is www.anamericantruckdriver.com. I'm on Facebook Facebook.com/AnAmericanTruckDriver, Twitter.com/ChrisPolk76. Hit that donate button. You know, I really want to put something into this, but I'm going to have to get something out of it eventually. So just get caught up. If you need to go back and listen, AnAmericanTruckDriver.com/podcast, you can go back and listen to older episodes, and we'll get caught up, and we'll go from there. So until next time, I'm Chris Polk.